A professor named Yakutani, who is 31 years old, is doing his work in his laboratory. Yakutani always focuses on working 24 hours non-stop. Even if there was time to sleep, he only took a few minutes. Then a woman who works as Yakutani's assistant entered Yakutani's room and said that the pharmaceutical company representative had arrived. Yakutani told the woman to escort the man to the meeting room while waiting for Yakutani to prepare the required documents. This man said that Yakutani was a genius professor and doctor. His research was #1 in the world. He has saved many patients thanks to Yakutani's medicinal research, from common ailments to incurable diseases. Yakutani immediately finished his work, and there was a photo of when Yakutani was a child with his little sister. After seeing the photo, Yakutani immediately headed to the meeting room. At night, Yakutani still works until midnight. Then he rested for a while, consuming snacks and isotonic energy drinks. When Yakutani looked back at his childhood photos, he remembered his younger sister. She had a malignant tumor and died because no medicine could cure her. Little Yakutani was devastated by what happened to his sister. Since then, Yakutani has continued to learn all things about pharmacy for years without stopping. Until finally, he managed to achieve success in curing many people who have malignant diseases. However, his disappointment with the pharmaceutical world is still in his heart. If only his younger sister had been treated in the right way, she would have been able to recover from her tumor.
ちゃんと効く薬があればよかったんだ。
After working until dawn, Yakutani set the alarm and thought of something that had been his personal problem all along. Yakutani is not used to face-to-face with patients. Then without realizing it, Yakutani had fallen asleep soundly. When morning came, the female assistant tried to wake Yakutani. But sadly, Yakutani died from exhaustion from working for years. Suddenly, Yakutani reincarnated into the body of a 10-year-old child. The child was named Falma, and the maid accompanying Falma was named Charlotte. From now on, I will call Yakutani as Falma so you don't get confused. Falma was shocked and confused by the situation he was in now. Then he concluded that his previous self had died from work exhaustion. Charlotte was confused by Falma's behavior. She said that Falma had previously been struck by a mighty lightning bolt. Then Charlotte introduced herself again because she thought Falma had lost his memory due to the lightning strike that time. After Charlotte introduced herself, Falma asked permission to remove the bandages on his own body. Charlotte allowed it and was going to get a towel to help clean Falma's body.
最後に書いたやつ。
While Falma was cleaning his body, Charlotte saw the crest on both of Falma's arms. Charlotte was shocked and thought the crest belonged to the medical god. Charlotte immediately said a prayer and thanked for the grace that the medical god had bestowed upon Falma. Because of the crest on Falma's arm, he managed to survive the lightning strike that time. Falma was confused after hearing Charlotte's words. Then he asked Charlotte to explain in detail everything she knew about Falma. Charlotte was willing to explain anything while taking Falma around the house. Falma is a noble child of the Sanfluve Empire. His father named Bruno got the title of the noble baron because he has extraordinary skills in the field of pharmacy. Bruno also works as the principal of the pharmacy school. Falma has a mother named Beatrice, a younger sister named Blanche, and an older brother named Pal. Pal is studying abroad at a Novart Pharmacy University. The university is known for the best pharmacy education in the world. Bruno is looking forward to an excellent future for Falma and Pal, not only as pharmacists but also as users of divine arts. Divine arts is a magical technique that is the work of a god. Only certain people can use this technique. Divine arts is a magical technique that is the work of a god. Only certain people can use this technique. Divine arts are a magic power source in this world. Then Falma, who has a Yakutani soul, was confused. Wait, is there really magic in this world? Can I do that too? Charlotte was shocked that Falma had forgotten entirely about divine arts. Charlotte asked him to remember it as soon as possible. If it was too late, his peerage would be revoked, and Falma would be expelled. Charlotte also said that Falma possessed water-type divine arts. Falma needed the basic imagination of forming water in his mind to cast magic. Falma would try to remember it so he wouldn't be kicked out of this family. Falma pondered in his room, thinking about how to cast magic. Then Falma started trying to follow what Charlotte said earlier. He imagined all kinds of substances needed. I had no idea what they were, so I apologize that I can't explain the chemicals. Finally, Falma was able to cast his first magic. But he panicked because this water magic was too big. Then he released the spell towards the garden in his house. Then Charlotte immediately changed her clothes to meet Falma again. In his room, Falma was still trying out any magic he could use just by imagining the substance in his mind. Falma's left hand creates substances, medicines, or whatever, while his right hand was to erase what Falma had made. This magic on his right and left hands only Falma could do because he had the mark of the medical god crest. Then Charlotte came to see Falma. She was happy that Falma could use his divine arts again. But Charlotte had just remembered that there was a family dinner later. So Charlotte warned Falma to remember all the pharmacy science that had been taught by his father. Because at every dinner together, Bruno would definitely ask all kinds of things about pharmacy science. Then Charlotte took Falma to the private library. All the books here are about pharmacy science. Yakutani was amazed by Falma's figure because a 10-year-old boy could remember all the knowledge in these books. Yakutani also whispered in his heart that he had just discovered that the healing techniques in this world are very ancient, even outdated if compared to Yukatani's world. In the evening, Falma came to the dining room, and his family was already there. They were relieved because Falma's condition had recovered, and there were no side effects from the lightning strike. In Falma's heart, he would still live a second life in this world. This is a chance to make his dream come true, and Yakutani, who now has a younger sister, must take care of her. Then Bruno suddenly asked about the ingredients and the prescription for the ointment given to Falma earlier. Falma looked a bit panicked, but luckily, he correctly answered Bruno's question. Then Bruno told Falma to start studying again with his teacher tomorrow. The next day, the beautiful woman named Ellen was confused because Falma's behavior and speaking style were very different from before. Then Falma reasoned that his memory was messed up due to being hit by a lightning strike.
やっぱり何か違うわね。気のせいだと思いますよ。ほらそれ話し方落ち着いてるし雰囲気違うし可愛げないし別人みたいだわ。教師エレオノール・ボヌフォは相性はエレン。おかしい。何がですか。ごめん。雷に打たれてから記憶が曖昧なんだ。
Because of that, Ellen will explain the divine arts first. Each of the nobles is protected by God. Bruno, Pal, and Falma are guarded by the medical god, while Ellen is protected by the water god. Divine arts have 5 elemental attributes: fire, water, wind, earth, and non-elemental. These attributes are also divided into positive and negative. Non-elemental is outside of the 4 elements. Rumor has it that the attribute exists but hasn't been seen in 300 years. Then Falma asked Ellen, can we make a certain substance according to the mind's imagination? And what attribute is it included? Ellen replied that it was impossible to do, each person could only make one substance. Of course, whoever had this ability was definitely a god or a monster.
神様か化け物よ。
Then the divine arts practice started around the lake. Ellen was surprised because Falma didn't bring his staff. Magic staff is needed to strengthen and control divine arts. Falma also apologized for leaving his staff in the room. Then Ellen lent her staff for Falma's practice today. Ellen told Falma to pay attention to how Ellen cast divine arts from the staff.
水の槍。
Now it was Falma's turn to try it. Ellen told Falma to imagine the form of his own divine arts and then cast the water lance spell to cast the magic. Ellen was surprised that Thelma cast magic without saying the words. Then Ellen told Thelma to measure the power of her divine arts. Ellen was worried because if the power of the divine arts, limited for a lifetime, were all used up, Thelma wouldn't be able to have his powers anymore. But when Ellen gave the power gauge to Thelma, Ellen was shocked that Thelma's power exceeded the color limit. Not only that, there are positive and negative attributes in him. Ellen said that from time immemorial, no one has the power to exceed the limit of color. Then when Ellen checked Thelma's arm, she was surprised because it wasn't the crest of the medical god. Ellen asked Thelma not to measure her strength using a divine meter and not to show this power to anyone. Even Thelma should not tell his parents. Then Ellen finished today's practice, and Thelma invited Ellen to rest.
そう、足元がよく見えないから怖くて。
Thelma comforted Ellen and showed her how to see clearly without glasses. Ellen just found out that the method Thelma told was very effective. But when Thelma also practiced what he taught Ellen, Thelma suddenly saw blue marks on Ellen's finger.
あれ?
Ellen was confused about how Thelma could tell if one of her fingers was a sprain. Then Thelma explained that he could suddenly see a blue color when he put a finger around his eyes. If Thelma guessed that person's illness correctly, then the color changed to white. Ellen, who heard this, was even more shocked, because only the medical god could see the disease directly and cure it with the right medicine. The ability that Thelma just showed was the eye of God. Thelma couldn't be categorized as a human. Another thing that scared Ellen even more was when she looked down at Thelma's body.
あなたの影!
Thelma had no shadow, and because of that, Ellen ran away. She was frightened by what she had just seen.